Hey guys, Pastor Chris here with Calvary Assembly. Hey, I want to just take a little bit of time and ask you, what do you think about Jesus? Who do you think he is? It's a question that we all have to answer and we all have to deal with at some point. But who do you think Jesus is? A lot of times we see different posts on Facebook and things that say, Jesus is my homeboy, or Jesus is my best friend, or different things like that. And while those are all good and everything, they don't really complete who Jesus is or how we should think about him. How many times do you think of Jesus as king? How many times do you think about him as a Lord? We say, our Lord Jesus or King Jesus or these different things, and we make these statements, but do we really even understand what it means? You see, a lot of times us in our American culture, we don't understand what the term Lord or King even really means. It's just something nice to say. We think of kings, and most of the time as Americans, we get this nasty taste in our mouth about what a king is and who that is and who it should be in our lives and different things. But I want to encourage you, take time and really think about what would it mean to have Jesus as your king. I mean, think about it. Here in America, we're in the middle of presidential debates and everything right now as they're getting ready to choose who's going to run for Democrat, who's going to be Republican, all of these different things, and we're just being flooded with all of it. And the thing about America is we have a leader, we have a president right now. Right now it's President Obama, and there's a lot of people who don't like him, and what they're saying instead is, you know what? We're going to vote someone else in. We're going to get rid of this guy, and we're going to bring somebody else in who's completely different. Somebody who's in more of line with what I believe or what I think should happen or all of this. But when you have a king instead of a president, you can't do that. If you go against the king, it's treason. It's something that's worthy of death. And in old times, a king was someone who ruled and ruled completely. They were the ones who established the law. They were the one that people served and they did things for. And a king could require anything, and it was considered lawful for him to do it. And a lot of times we look at this and we immediately think of bad things, of a bad king, of a bad leader, of someone who's trying to take advantage. But what happens when we begin to look and we see Jesus as a good king? And not just a good king, but a perfect king. And so my question I want to ask you is, do you consider Jesus your king? Do you look at him and say, he is my king. He is my Lord. He is the one that I worship. He is the one that I will follow. He can do no wrong, and he'll do what he wants, and I will serve him regardless of all of those things. Or do we see him more as some type of a president where we can come in and we can say, you know what, I don't like that part about Jesus, so I'm just going to remove that. I'm going to vote that part out because I don't think it applies. I don't think it fits me, and so we do things different. Is Jesus your king, or is he your president? And I want to encourage you, why don't you go and read 1 Timothy chapter 6 and pay a special attention to verses 11 through 16 as it talks about this idea of who Jesus is and the good thing he did. And it actually uses the term Jesus as King of Kings and Lord of Lords, which means he is the King of all kings. He is the Lord of all lords. And because of that, he's absolutely worthy of worship and our praise. How do you view Jesus? I want to challenge you this week. Begin thinking about how you view Jesus, and we're going to talk about this king and his kingdom coming up this Sunday.